Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Center for Conscious Living. You have Spencer and Renee here coming at you with our wisdom for the week. This week, we're doing something a little different. We have, before we start our next topic, we're doing, I called it a special topic in the description of this video, but we're focusing on consciously facing adversity and thriving. Just kind of based on some of the stuff we've seen in our region, and thought perhaps it would be good to have some helpful tips for that for everybody to learn how to enjoy and still be able to experience things that are broadcast as traumatic and thrive in them and succeed and come out on the other side um, perfectly okay. So I'm excited to learn more about it. It's a great special topic and a chance for us to learn something new. If you're not familiar with us, we are Spiritual Center for Conscious Living. We dedicate ourselves to bringing wisdom to people on a weekly basis via these live streams. Hello to our Facebook watchers and our YouTube watchers. Um, and yeah, we're here every week. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. So we do accept donations. If you feel so moved, you can see all about us in our links on the side or underneath our video, depending on where you're watching. And on there, we have our PayPal, our Amazon Smile link. If you want to support us that way, we greatly appreciate it. And our website, if you want to learn more about us and see more of our events coming up. My last thing, speaking of events, is that we are on the next 3 weeks. We will be taking October 30th off. Sorry, the next 2 weeks. This week and then two more. So the 30th, we will have another off week. So please join us for the next 2 weeks. And on that one, there will be a post, but we encourage you to enjoy a replay if you miss some of the conversation. With all that being said, I think it's Renee, you're ready to roll.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Spencer. And let me know, you all, if I need to adjust so you can see me or hear me. Also, if there's any sound issues, please let us know. Last time, several of you did, and I did not answer the text, but I will pay attention. So please let us know. So before we begin our topic, I do want to take a moment. We do this generally, but I want to do it a little differently this particular week. There's been a lot going on in the world. There's been, there's always things like natural disasters. There's been some, sometimes they're more horrific than others. Also, there's other things happening besides that, of course. And it's not just unique to the area where we broadcast from, the region, as Spencer said. If, of course, we know it and we respect and absolutely have compassion for, this is a part of human experience. So we want to be supportive of that. So that's why I thought about this. Actually had someone suggest it to me, and I thought it was a good time, and I brought it to Spencer. He agreed. Let's adjust our planned events and just do this today. So we're talking about how to face adversity consciously so that you do come out thriving. Now, I want to be clear when I say that. We're not diminishing that sometimes adversity takes a toll of lives in the human realm, or physical destruction in other ways that is very difficult, traumatic, devastating even. So we certainly support, and we want to just take a moment before we go into the topic. So I ask you to please, drop into your heart. We're going to do a process I call holding sacred space. So take a breath with me, please. Exhale with sound. Whoa. Center yourself fully in your physical presence. Meaning that your spiritual presence is leading the way from your heart, but you're also very in tune with your physical self, your human self. And for anyone that you know or aware of, even people you don't know, but you just know of events that have happened, I ask you to just hold a space, compassion for whatever they have dealt with and are still dealing with. Genuine compassion. It's not that we see them as unable or incapable. It's just that sometimes it's it's very overwhelming, and they need help. They need support. They need physical help and support. They need emotional help and support, and they need our spiritual strength and steadiness, the faith, knowing that they are being provided for. We do what we can do, whatever we feel is our particular role to do. In addition, always, and I suggest beginning with holding sacred space, knowing for them with absolute certainty and the most profound clarity, divine presence, divine power is with them. It is always with every living sentient being, all people, all creatures, all of life, all of earth, nature, all people everywhere. Divine presence and power is with them. It is surrounding them. It is within them. It is guiding them. It is calling to them. It is bringing to them things, the help they need, the wisdom they need. And that is true for you if you are a person currently being impacted by something that feels devastating. It doesn't matter if the world is calling it devastating. Perhaps for you, it just feels, it's just been more challenging than humanly feels possible for you. So we're going to talk about that today, how to deal with that, with bringing in spiritual strength. So hold that space for yourself. Hold that space for anyone you know, any situation you know of that just particularly calls to you, particularly touches you, whether you're directly impacted or not, does not matter. We are all connected in this beautiful life on this beautiful planet, and we are connected spiritually and energetically. And I want you to take a moment and I want you to think of anyone that you've judged who's going through something difficult. Anyone that you've thought, well, maybe they had it coming. They did something bad. They've been unkind. We have wars going on, whatever your take is on anything going on in the world, or somebody personally you've seen towards yourself or towards people you know, loved ones perhaps. And hold sacred space for them as well. Because in knowing divine presence and power, they will rise up. Don't use that to justify, and certainly don't use that to withhold divine love as the truth that is always prevailing in life. It really hurts you most of all to do that, but certainly it does not help the situation that you believe might be unfair or even cruel. So hold divine presence and power as the absolute truth at play in whatever situation is happening in your life, in the life of those you know about, care about, love, or feel compassion for, even if you don't know them. And also for those whom you might not be too happy with, you might not understand their motives and certainly not agree with. Hold it for them too. Take a moment and feel that. Take a breath. Okay. I know we went a little deeper than normal to get started, but I believe it's very important. So what we just demonstrated is what you can do to help somebody going through a difficulty. I know in the midst of something, we're going to talk about how do you handle it when you're personally in the midst of it. What we did just now demonstrates what you can do to help somebody who they're going through it, perhaps in the midst of it, and you're out of reach, you're not physically present with them. Well, even if you are physically present with them, please always start with holding sacred space, knowing, trusting absolutely believing in divine presence and power at work for them. Helps me to be able to look kind of directly into you. So let's get started. Here's what we're going to talk about today. It's in our program, which is on our website homepage. And there's a red PDF icon that on one of the banners that comes through on the homepage. And it has the program for each week. And you will see that today was kind of a little one-off. So it's over in the center on the left. Consciously facing adversity and thriving. Now, in the midst of it, you may not feel that you're thriving. In the midst of it, you may be struggling to maintain, and that's okay. We're not saying put on, rose-colored glasses and put a smile on and pretend to be joyful in the midst of a catastrophe, whether it's a small catastrophe or a huge catastrophe. We're not suggesting that at all. What we are absolutely recommending is that you be aware that you do have the right to come through it strong, secure, steady, stable, assured. Kitty wants to come and play. So just please do have, I would just open your heart, still your thoughts, get into your spiritual mind and heart, still your human concerns, just for this moment, even if it's for 1 minute. Drop into your heart and have that faith. Allow yourself at least a full minute of the possibility that no matter how catastrophic it is, you can, and you are capable with divine presence and power to come through it and thrive. Not just survive, but also thrive. Okay? The topics we're going to cover, there's 3 points, and then we will have a conversation about it, which I invite you to participate in. So the topics, if you haven't seen the program, is first of all, becoming calm, clear, and intentional in the midst of chaos or fear. And I want to just let you feel into that. Becoming calm, clear, and intentional in the midst of chaos or fear. Second topic, divine alignment opens you to the infinite power and potential of Source. Divine alignment is how you open to that. We're going to do that together in the portion that kind of in the center of the program, the portion that I like to call a meditative energy immersion. And then the third topic we're going to cover today is pure focus and pure flow as the spiritual leader in all things personal to you. And I want to start with that phrase, spiritual leader. So my role in this organization is to be a spiritual leader, to bring spiritual leadership to this organization. I also do that in my personal business. I do that in my personal life. I do that and just as I encourage you to do in all things personal to you. So you come to a teaching like this to cultivate the mastery of your energy, of your spiritual wisdom, of implementing spiritual wisdom into everyday life. By practicing it in the simple moments, the calm moments, the almost no challenge moments, very little challenging at least. By practicing it and becoming adept at it, becoming skillful with implementing your spiritual being, its wisdom, its guidance, its abilities into your human being, your human life. Letting the spiritual being, I like to think of that as your divine self. You might think of it as your soul, but it's your divine self. It's the part of you that never forgets and is never disconnected from the divine. Never forgets that it is one with the divine. Never forgets that it is a creation, a masterful and empowered creation of the divine, meant to express the divine in human form. in this manifested realm that we call planet Earth. And it's a beautiful planet. Yes, there are events all the time that are chaotic, even catastrophic for humans and creatures and Earth. There are many more things and much more at play that is beautiful and calm and empowering and uplifting and expansive of divine love, expansive of creation force. That is the predominant energy. And that's the energy we want to be aligned with as much as possible. So I call that, there's several ways you can look at that. Part of that is cultivating mastery of your energy. We've talked a lot about that. If you missed our the basics of conscious living, we covered that extensively. Knowing who you are and living from that. And we'll talk about that just a little deeper. So it's also, you'll hear me sometimes call it having sovereignty, making a commitment, and not a willful mental commitment, but a heart and mind, soulful, divine self's spiritual commitment that you will learn to become sovereign in your environment, your energy field, not dominating anyone, sovereign of you, sovereign of your thoughts, sovereign of your beliefs. Beliefs are thoughts that you think so long they become an automatic thought system. That's a belief. You can change them. They don't own you. You're the chooser, even if you don't realize it. Certainly, we've been programmed in childhood and in school and in life experience. It's very important to be aware of who you listen to and who you allow to have influence with you, over you, because that does create your belief system, which then all of that in your energy field that becomes your consciousness. And that consciousness is the center of the vortex of your energy field. It is what is controlling your energy field. It is what is opening or limiting your consistent connection with the divine, for guidance, for wisdom, for power beyond human ability. So that's what I mean by making a choice to be the spiritual leader of all things personal to you. You could call that having sovereignty, meaning only, of course, your energy field, not sovereignty over others. Of course, you don't have that right. That's not given to you. But each creation of the divine has that right to be sovereign of their energy, their consciousness. By cultivating mastery of your energy, your emotions, your awareness, and so that you can become a person who is committed to and consistently adept and skillful at conscious living, making choices that are aligned with your core values, having a very clear intention as you make choices. And then having your behaviors, your thoughts, your words, your communication in every form, not just verbal, written, all communication that's nonverbal, your body language, your energy that emanates, that is expressing the state of being you're in every moment. Making all of that conscious and clear, supporting what you value and doing so with clear intention, as opposed to just sort of muddling through. And everybody in your wake is impacted by that positively and negatively. You most definitely and most significantly are the one. The degree to which you do that is the degree to which you can help others that you care about who are going through something devastating to them. Some form of adversity, whether it's you might, on a scale of 1 to 10, it might seem mild to one person, but very, very significant to the person who's going through it. And when we look at, globally things impacting, we of course have huge devastating events, natural disasters, for example. wars, things like that, groups who are being persecuted, one group persecuting another. And those, of course, have huge impact. And it's wonderful to want to have a positive influence on that and a meaningful impact, a meaningful, conscious, intentional impact. The degree to which you're capable of that must first be mastered within yourself. And then you have something of meaning, of impact to bring to those huge events that seem overwhelming. So as I said in the beginning, it's so important. I cannot stress this enough. Please hear me, receive this. It is so crucial that you practice this spiritual skill of conscious living, many elements of it, but the skill of that, you practice it in the simple things, in the calm moments, in the creation of joy, in the creation of ease, so that when there's an actual need, on a scale of 1 to 10, a little need or a huge life-threatening even need, health issues, homes and safety and financial need and wisdom for career choices and all the things on planet Earth that humans need to thrive. All the material, the outer. If you have that as your natural state of being within you, this conscious living practice, then you will effortlessly kick into that in a state of urgency, even emergency. You will naturally kick into it. You will still respond in the physical realm, and you will be guided with infinite power and potential. It is beyond your human brain, however wonderful it is, and the collective consciousness of everyone involved. Beautiful, powerful things are done to help one another in times of crisis. And it's wonderful, it's masterful. And having just one or a few people in a group who are connected to divine power and presence, hearing beyond even the wisdom of the brilliance of the groups of people at play in helping, will carry that beyond. That's where an innovative idea comes from. That's where something that's never been done, never even been considered, is suddenly realized and implemented. And lives are saved, and damage to the physical needs that we have is prevented. And life is restored, and joy is restored, and ease is restored, and security and stability is restored. And that's how we do that in the human realm. We don't limit ourselves to the human realm. Now, there may be many around you who are doing that. You can't change them. You can lead quietly, even silently, by example. You be the spiritual leader in the moment. You be the silently, I'm not saying you don't speak, but I'm saying you don't try to dominate. You just be it, because it's who you choose to be. You don't be it because it's some sort of power trip. You do it because it's who you have chosen to be for you always. And you be it. And then I promise you, that's when you can help a person in crisis. You can help them with your human gifts and abilities, absolutely. And what steers that most impactfully, most meaningfully, and most miraculously is your connection to something beyond the human realm. You may call that God. You may call that life force. I think of it as all of those things. To most of the time, you'll hear I use source, because I want to convey very powerfully this energy that we're talking about, this unending, ever expanding, infinite potential and intelligence and love, creation force of love, creating and then loving and creating and supporting all that it creates. That is available in every moment. And not learning to be one with that and flow with it and receive it and enjoy it and experience it is it's really diminishing the amazing joy and magnificence of this experience of life. So I encourage you very much to make a commitment to yourself that you will cultivate that for you. And in doing that, you will naturally share that amazing gift, whether it's ever spoken about, just by your presence, by the energy of your presence. You will share that with everyone who's ever in your energy field. They will just naturally be impacted. We do not have the right or the ability to willfully force others to be more spiritual than they're ready to be. We don't have the right to try to, it's like force feeding someone spiritual nurturing. We can't do that. It's not appropriate. We have to come to it as we're ready, as we awaken, and then we commit, and then we go deeper. It's like we go in and we expand and we go out, and we just begin to experience the divine in all things that we do and in all who we interact with. And that begins by experiencing the divine within you and all around you. And then directing that, choosing how to direct that, being guided, opening to that, hearing it, and then having the courage to begin doing so. Even if there's a mistake made, even if there's a didn't turn out the way I hoped it would, then you still have it's like you want to approach it as an exploration, a discovery. And that might sound difficult in the moment of the crisis, which is why I keep saying, and I'll continue to say it, it's important that you practice in moments of calm so that you can learn it in a joyful, easeful state and hone that skill. Then in moments of absolute urgency or even crisis, it's something you have. It's a natural go-to response that you can bring that serves you and everyone around you. So let's talk about divine alignment. And let's talk about how do you bring that into a situation that might be, whether it's for you just a small personal crisis or it's a huge life-threatening crisis for yourself or others. So I'm going to walk us through this in a moment, but I want to kind of just touch on the points first. I have a tickly nose. I'm just getting over a cold this week. So, and I want to say that too. So I know for myself, when there's a lot going on, and I love to have a fulfilling life and be, quote, busy, you might say. But I also have, block out times of stillness for myself, which is how I cultivate this sense of divine oneness and connection and groundedness and clarity to hear guidance given to me. When there's a lot going on, that's when our human energy body, we have different energy fields. We have the human body energy field and the physicalness around us. And we have the emotional energy field, and we have a mental energy field. And then the largest and most, and the one that is the absolute truth of us that never changes, that is steady throughout time and isn't necessarily going to emanate as the person you are right now, but it is always there and it's guiding the person you are. That is your spiritual being, your divine self. That's That's, as I said earlier, that's the part that is never disconnected from the divine, the light of the one, from God force, life force, the power that creates worlds. That's what we're actually, you, each one of us, is actually connected, and we can be aligned with that. We have the choice. We're given that autonomy to choose to be aligned, or to allow ourselves, knowingly or unknowingly, to disconnect. Not like we cut off completely, or we wouldn't have life force, but sort of like constrict is a better way of saying it. So how do you open to pure alignment when you're feeling maybe a sense of anxiety or panic, fear and chaos is breaking out? And how do you do that? As I said, it helps if you've practiced. Okay, so I want you to bring to mind, we're going to walk through this. I'm going to walk you through it, and then we're going to actually do it in a meditative state. So before we start the meditative state, let's just cover the points. So bring to mind, please, something, it might be current or something recent, or it might be something some time back, but it was really significant. And I ask you to choose something that is directly impactful for you, about you, with you, because that's the one that's you have to really learn how to do with yourself, with the things that are, that can cause you to like have a panic attack and seriously feeling severe distress. Okay. Now, you don't have to choose the worst thing that's ever happened. I don't mean that, but choose something that you can relate to so that we can walk through it. Sometimes it does help to start with something small, not the worst thing that's ever happened. Okay. But something that's still a little bit raw, that you still want some wisdom about. Okay. So bring that to mind. Still your thoughts. Take a breath, get into your heart. And we're going to walk through, first of all, how do you align with the divine in the midst of that beginning, even this most beginning step of anxiety or panic. And then how do you pull a clear intention? And then how do you receive guidance? Now, Spencer has some music for us. If you haven't already, would you please start that music? So take a deep breath, please. Ooh. And I invite you to allow this situation to be present as if it's in the palm of your hand. And I want you to take it into your heart or your mind or your body. I want you to it's just present. It's right here. It could be sitting on a desk or a table or in the palm of your hand. It's just here. It cannot hurt you. It's as if it's a movie that you're watching, and at any moment you can step out of it. It cannot hurt you. We are going to examine it for the purpose of learning a new way of addressing situations like this. It is not, in this moment, it has no power to actually hurt you. So if there's any sense of fear or anxiety, then I ask you now to take a deep breath. Exhale very thoroughly. Let the energy release through your whole body, out your fingers, out your toes, crown of your head, cascading around you. Release. Release the anxiety, any sense of fear. It's like watching something on a TV screen or a computer screen, or phone. It's not within you, it is outside of you. And it's not going to hurt you. It's just there right now as a learning tool, as an experience with which you can use to expand your ability to align with divine presence and power. And let's do that now. So we're going to do A breathing box just to help you get very, very calm. The breathing box helps you to stop the thinking that can get started with chaos and fear, human thinking, so that you can get into that alignment with expanded heart space and mind, that it's your divine intelligence, that is your divine self open to divine intelligence, at one with divine intelligence. So the breathing box says, take a deep breath in for 3 seconds. Let's do that now. Hold your breath for 3 seconds. Exhale for 3 seconds. Pause for 3 seconds. And then you can repeat that as many times as you like. It can be longer. Sometimes when in stress, you need a short breath to get started. We tend to shorten our breath when we're feeling stress. You can start with 3 seconds and you can expand it to 5 seconds or 7 seconds. Whatever feels comfortable. Don't make yourself be out of breath. Yeah, it's important. The taking in of breath is another way to take in energy of the divine that is within you and without you at all times. Now choose divine wisdom, divine intelligence, divine love. Choose to be one with that. And what I mean by that is choose to feel it, choose to know it is with you, choose to trust that it loves and cares for you and supports you. Choose divine alignment. Alignment with divine power, divine presence that is beyond the scope of anything that is happening. No matter how huge or catastrophic, divine presence and power is the power. Power that creates worlds is greater than anything happening in the human realm. Take a breath. Choose to feel what is just beautiful, exquisite power and presence that is always for you and always with you, intimately caring about you, for you, guiding you. Feel that. Take another breath, please. The second step then is, now that you've aligned with divine presence and power, the next step is to choose a very clear, conscious intention. This intention is not necessarily a physical manifestation. It will lead to that in ways that are appropriate, but you begin with the essence. You want to feel safe. You want to feel that you are thriving. You want to feel that you are at peace. What is the feeling state, the essence of what you want this outcome to be? You want to feel safe and secure. You want to feel free of any sense of limitation. You want to feel fully alive in your body, vital and strong. You want to feel clear in your thinking, with absolute clarity and guidance about how to proceed in a situation. You want to feel safe and secure in a state of urgency or emergency, knowing exactly what to do to remain safe, to keep your loved ones safe, to help those around you who are panicked, who need guidance and need strength. Sometimes it's to reach out to emergency helpers. Sometimes it's reaching out to somebody with a wisdom or skill beyond yours. Whatever that is, you want to know exactly what to do next, or to simply be still and allow the guidance to come in before acting, before speaking, before doing. And get that sense of calm, assured knowing. This is what to do. It can be a very immediate flow state of behavior. Sometimes you have to get still first. And then you can enter that flow state. Now that you have your calm, clear intention, now the third step. This is where you take action if needed, or hold steady in silence if that's what you're guided to do. And sometimes it's a blend of both. You hold that sacred space of knowing divine presence and power is with you, is guiding you, is bringing aid, is giving strength and wisdom and clarity to those who are there to provide aid. That might be you, or it might be you're the one receiving the aid. It might be moments of stillness. When the job comes to you unexpectedly, an email, a phone call. You go for a walk, you go run an errand, and you connect with somebody you haven't seen, and they say, hey, I've been meaning to reach out to you. You still looking for a job? I just heard about something you might like. It could be something about your health. It comes to you. You're guided to pick up a book in a store or at a friend's home. You're guided to click on something on the internet, on your phone, the computer. Somebody else sees it and sends it to you. Books arrive in the mail, and the process in that book created a miracle in my health. It can happen. Are you open to receiving the infinite potential, infinite wisdom, the infinite love, the infinite intelligence, the infinite power that is the truth of who you are and how you are meant to enjoy this experience of life? And then you will know. You'll know what to do if there is something to do. You will know what to say and to whom if that is how you are guided. You will know to be still. And it's something you keep to yourself and you take action on, but you don't speak about. That can be true with health matters. That can be true with relationship matters. And then there might be a time after that you are guided to do something, say something. That is the process that will get you through whatever seems to be the adverse in your life. Something small that others don't even know is happening, but it's very important to you. Something more medium that does require something fairly soon to be done, to be handled. Something more urgent, state of emergency that you do have to take action quickly for your well-being. All of this works no matter how dire or how simple the situation is. And I encourage you, don't ignore this in situations. The simple situations can become so much worse when you ignore this. Use it in the simple situations, and then you will be so skillful and masterful in the moments where it counts even more. When you're ready, take another deep breath and exhale a sound. Bring your focus back to our live stream. We're going to begin a conversation in a moment. Once you are ready, Let me change my view. Okay. So Spencer, let's do a sound check.
Yep, I
Can
can.
everybody can hear? Good.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. Let me just triple check that. They should be able to because I wasn't messing with the settings all that much. So,
Please let us know if that's not the
yep,
case.
it looks like we should be good on our side here.
Okay, great, great. So before we begin the conversation with Spencer, I want to invite anyone listening now, and this is also true later if you watch. I know with time zones, we have people that watch through replay. So you can still participate. We love it when you're live because then we can interact right now, and that's always fun. And I believe that is the most impactful for you. If you can't, for traveling or time zone differences, still please do, to whatever degree you feel comfortable, please share and interact with us. So I'm going to pose the question to everyone, and then Spencer and I will have a conversation about it. So the question is, I'm going to go through the topics, just review them quickly. And the question is, what of these three topics would you like my additional guidance or assistance with to help you either better understand or more easily and naturally implement in a situation in your own life? As we do this, please do be respectful. This is a public forum. We sometimes have private conversations. If you want a private conversation with me, you can put that in the messages. Also, we have information on the home page. One of the slides, actually, there's two that go through that tell you how to reach out to have a private email conversation or to connect with me by phone and have a private conversation. In a public forum, we don't want to mention other people's names and be general in how you might describe anyone else involved, because we do want to respect other people's privacy. And also, part of conscious conversation is this is about you. Whatever's happening, we want to address it in the sense of it's happening within your energy field, your life, your environment. And that's because it's for you and about you. It's an opportunity for you to expand your spiritual sovereignty, you might say. So we want to always bring it back, even though there are other people involved, of course, bring it back to you. So I'm going to go over the topics and then we'll go to the conversation. So just so we're clear, these are the topics. Becoming calm, clear, and intentional in the midst of chaos or fear. Divine alignment opens you to infinite power and potential of source. Pure focus and pure flow as the spiritual leader in all things personal to you. Which of those three would you like additional assistance with or guidance from me to help you implement more easily or understand more fully? Now, do we have any comments or do you want to go first, Spencer?
There aren't any comments that I see, so I personally would like to know more about the divine alignment opening to the infinite power and potential.
Okay.
I don't know. I did a meditation last night, and it was kind of like that, and it was not to take away from remaining in the midst of chaos or tumult, but it was just a good reminder of that we are, in my personal belief, that we are the universe experiencing itself, and that all you have to do is to remember to forget that this isn't, that we're all just light particles slowed down, and energy particles slowed down to seem like we're physical. And it was a good, good reminder that anything is possible. And I think connecting to that more steadily is like paramount in seeing the things you want in life, whether it's um the new job, or the relationships, or um that, or if it is just something as a simple a need as just, I want to be safe during a storm. I want my things to be safe. I want my friends and family to be safe, sort of a thing. So yeah, I think that's something I'd like to learn more about.
I am so glad you brought that up. Um, I'm going to approach it with a couple of different ideas. So I want to start with this, and then we'll come back and make sure I've covered what you really wanted help with.
Yeah.
So one of the things that is really important and can also sometimes be challenging or confusing is, I think you described it beautifully. And my way of saying it would be knowing that on the one hand, I'm so much more than the human person going through whatever is happening. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? Whatever that is, I'm more than that. Which isn't to say I just am recklessly not taking care of the human part of me, right? That I think is the part that people can get a little, it's either confusing or it can be actually a bit frightening, because I know, as I've gone through the journey, and then as I've guided people through it in, working intensely with people more privately or in groups too, but privately, you can go so much deeper with somebody. So I do have, I programs and things where I help people with that. And then members here in our community, I work with you privately when you ask me to, when you would like that. So I know the light, it's kind of funny, the light's different today. So what is so important, I can't, when I say so important, I mean, it absolutely essential is a better way to say it. Absolutely essential. And Spencer, I think you expressed it very well, is that balance of, I am a spiritual being. I am meant to be at one with the divine, whatever word you use for the divine, beloved source energy, the power that creates worlds, God force, life force, spirit, divine creator. I am that amazing consciousness energy, force, life force, beautiful, loving, creative force expressing through me. I am that. And I'm a human being. And I'm here to be all that a human being can be, to, in the way I choose, uniquely expressing as me. And that's true for each one of us. So the question is, how do you stay in that space if you feel, your survival is at risk? The human survival, as a storm, or you need money for groceries, you need money, you're trying to find a place to live and nothing's available, and you don't want to, have to temporarily live in your car or something, or like even in the bad weather, and you don't want things to be damaged that keep you and your loved ones safe. You're looking for a job. Maybe it's not financially so much a crisis as it is you're looking for a way to express you and enjoy that expression, a group of people to work with that feels, that you feel at one with, as opposed to at odds with, So there's a range of it. Maybe you're having a health issue and you're saying, why, and I think that's can be one of the most challenging. And I personally gone through that. So I say that with great compassion. I personally have had a health challenge where I was in constant pain, enormous constant pain. And that taught me how to be aligned, and so I'll go into that in just a minute. That teaches, it's the moments that seem the most difficult that are the opportunities for us to choose the spiritual as what will lead us in the human. So now I'm going to address it. So I wanted to say that first. Now I'm going to come back and be with a little more specific. So, and if I'm understanding you, that's really what you're asking is, how do we do that? Not recklessly, not caring about our human experiences, not over caring, and not, taking care of our spiritual being progress in life, right? How do we keep that balance? Is that really what you're asking? And then get into alignment.
Yeah, that is. And then I just had other questions pop in my head that are irrelevant to the conversation, so I'm gonna put them in the parking lot for now. But
We'll come back to this. I'm
yeah,
sure
well, yeah, they're interesting to say the least, but yeah, they might not. We'll start with that. We'll start here.
Okay. So this is what I have done in times of enormous urgency. Um, I choose that. I choose to have a mantra, and I teach that. And I promise you, if you will cultivate your own personal mantra, for most of my life, my mantra was there is one power, one presence active in this situation. And then you, whatever, and I know what that means. For me, that meant God force, it meant source energy, it meant divine love. Another expression I've used is divine love will propel, will, will, um, will always be, will always win. Divine love will always prevail, will always win over whatever's happening, will always trump whatever somebody else is doing, will always overcome. I don't want to, the challenge with that phrase is you don't want to get into the the conflict, like trying to dominate, right? You want to just know. And so I've evolved that now where I just say divine love is. Divine love is. It is here, it is present, it is active, it is. So you could say something simple like divine presence and power is, or I align with divine presence and power. Now, the words in itself don't mean anything if you're not actually in, if it's not helping you get into the feeling and the connection with the divine. So when I said those words to you, we'll use you as an example, if I may.
Yeah.
Any of those resonate for you?
Um, actually I was thinking about it, and it's funny. I go back to that water bottle that I've mentioned to you in private and stuff that I have, and I have it
Yeah.
with me sitting on my bed. But like that, just the kind of, breathe and know that the universe has this is more like my speed in my, it's like just breathe and know that it's out there. Like, just that's, I guess, kind of what I've been rolling with, is breathe and know that it's possible, sort of a thing.
That, yes. In one of the courses, it's like my basic course I teach, just if you don't know what else, maybe just say all is well.
Yeah.
Or another thing I've done with to help calm pets during a storm or something, you are safe, you are loved, all is well. You can say that to yourself. I am safe, I am loved, all is well. I am divinely loved and supported. But you take it in. It's like you let it just get into every particle of your being. You merge with it. You don't, it's not this intellectual thing. It's not a willfulness. It's a submitting to it. It's a submerging into it. It's a surrender, you might say, into that with trust, not reckless, like, oh well, I don't have to do anything because all is well.
Right.
I don't mean that, it's not reckless, and it's not like sort of, little cliche, like, oh, well, somebody's hurting. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. All is really well. It's just an illusion because it's all just, like watching a movie or something. Well, we, I do believe, and I think Spencer defined it beautifully, that we are beyond just what's happening in the human realm. But we came here to be a part of it. We're here intentionally, and that matters. And when you're in it, there is physical and emotional and mental discomfort or pain or fear or potential life-threatening things. And so absolutely we want to honor that. At the same time, don't let it have such a grip that you cannot step back just for a tiny, tiny bit, minuscule step back, bigger vision. There is a force at work here. And you said it beautifully. Say it again, the way you said it, Spencer, please.
Oh, I don't,
The
I don't
universe.
remember. Yeah, the universe has, like, my water
Yes.
bottle saying, yeah,
Yes.
breathe and
Yes.
know the universe has it, sort of a thing, or
Breathe and
just breathe and, so I think,
know.
yeah.
That's What if you just said breathe and know?
Right. Right.
Know meaning not brain knowing. Know meaning your spiritual divine self knows.
And I'm glad you said that, that kind of like the surrender, because it's like, yeah, I think of it as like a allow, or just be, just be present. And um I think there's a lot of doing that with the know, with the lowercase k with your intelligence, and the knowing with the capital K, just like the faith based
Yes.
um knowing. Because yeah, I was just thinking about that too, and it jumped to my mind that the only thing standing in your way, and this might sound kind of harsh, and I don't mean to, for people that are experiencing real devastating things, or are having these experiences, but the only thing holding yourself back is that intelligence, ego intelligence. So it's like just reminding yourself that if it's something I need, I can ask for it. The universe has it, I can ask for it.
Yes. So if you there's these are not new things, but they if you would really let yourself open to it, they're very true. So you can look at how many leaves on a single tree, how many pieces of sand in one little view of a beach, how many there's new look at a beloved pet, how many pieces of fur on that precious little baby. You can you can see this is a universe that has the capacity to provide in 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 forms and quality and levels of need beyond the human ability to comprehend. That's actually visible. And if you think, you can also go back to, um, like I remember talking to somebody once who was going through something difficult and kind of stuck in a holding on to, like you were saying, kind of their ego intellect holding on to, oh, I just don't see how this can get resolved. And I always say, don't argue for your limitations. you know, fight for your ability.
Right, right. Yeah.
And I get that it's because they're gripped in that fear, and so I have compassion, but if they've come to me, my job is to get them out of that grip, right? And so one way to do that is to go back to a time in your life when you experienced what people might call a miracle. I believe miracles are the natural order. It's just that what is perceived as a miracle is something that the human intellect, through medicine or science or something like that, can't explain. Doesn't mean it didn't believe it. Like I had a miracle healing, and the doctor said to me, there's no medical explanation, this is a miracle. So it is, I mean, it's not that medicine and science, medical people and scientific people don't believe it. That's just that it doesn't fit the realm of what they can explain, right? So go back to a time in your life when you personally experienced a miracle, or you were a part of it with somebody else that you know well. So you really do, like Spencer was saying, beyond your intellect, it was real. You trust with every particle of your being. You trust that it happened. So if it can happen then, it can happen in any situation. And that helps you let go of that grip a little bit. Now, does that help you get aligned? I think that was your question. How do you get aligned when you have that grip, or
Um yeah, I think that the mantra helps. It also, I think, realistically for me, and I say I think, and I'm aware of this intelligence that wants to just say answers and stuff, but I really feel like in that it's the practice, the more practice, when it's less stressful, the practice when it's calm, and that's the easiest time it is to ignore it, because it's like, oh, la di da, my life's going along, and then you get hit with something.
right?
um and what happens a lot then too is then you start to panic, and then just kind of compound the chaos onto itself, so it can be a really, really stressful situation.
It can, and it's actually it's what you're really learning is to cultivate your power of conscious choice. because in the, like you were saying, the easy moments that you're going to go la-di-da, you don't, it's like in those moments, there's a temptation to not be the conscious chooser in your own life, the spiritual leader, this person with sovereignty. Because it's like, oh, there's, so I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I thought about as I was, culminating ideas for this today was, are you, everybody, please, just take a moment and ask yourself this question. Are you a person who only chooses spiritual mastery when you have something to overcome? Or do you choose spiritual mastery all the time? Because I promise you, those la-di-da moments are exponentially more wonderful when you're in flow state of spiritual mastery. Not, and I get it, it's not taking as much, effort and awareness, but to not have it and let it go and then grab it and let it go and then grab it, that's creating hurdles for yourself in life. So we don't want to set ourselves up that we only choose consciously when there's something to overcome. You see how that can create a pattern of always having something to overcome in order to give yourself permission to step out more fully and be more alive as a spiritual being in a human body.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And it's if all you who know me know that it's got me in a self-reflective state wondering about that. So yeah, it's definitely a good point.
Cool. Has anybody asked anything that we want to address, or?
I don't see anything in the comments. I'm just going to double check them. Yep, I don't have anything.
Okay.
There.
You said maybe some other things came up. Is there anything else you want to bring up?
No, because it gets more into the philosophical stuff at that point. It could be kind of just bonus stuff, but I kind of forgot the exact phrasing of it. But the wanting things from the universe and knowing that the universe can provide infinite possibilities, at what point does it, and knowing that you're connected to that, at what point is it ego driven to be saying, I want to be safe, I want to become a Hollywood movie star, I want to do, that sort of a thing, and expecting those things in return. So I guess I answered my own question there, is if it is ego driven, then it's kind of like insincere, and it's not actually, you're not actually connecting with that.
You feel it. You can feel the difference.
Yeah.
Not everybody cultivates the ability to feel the difference, right? That's the conscious living versus somebody who never chooses conscious living. Also, there are plenty of people who use spiritual language, but they're not actually cultivating that connection, that divine alignment, right? And they may not know they're doing. They may not be doing it intentionally, right? And there's always people who do things intentionally to manipulate, but there's a lot who are, they're maybe new on it, or they're just starting and they haven't gotten there, but they're not being honest with themselves and letting themselves realize, I'm not there yet. Don't pretend to be further along than you are, because that just keeps you from actually getting there.
Right.
No shame and still wanting to live in that state, but not living in it predominantly, but wanting to. There's nothing. That's a very honorable awareness to have, to be honest with yourself about that. You don't have to tell everybody else if you don't want to, but always be honest with yourself about it. So it is, you can feel the difference between ego and divine alignment. Ego is, the primary difference is this. The divine alignment, this is my best way of explaining it. The divine alignment is a sense of, you literally, it's like you see life differently. You see nature and people and yourself. You experience an openness to life. You experience a beauty and a sacredness of all life, and a natural desire to connect in a way that's honorable and uplifting and empowering. And then the ego one is and fear-based. It's like insecure. It needs to be better than, it needs to compete with, it needs to dominate, manipulate, it needs to have these external validations.
Mm.
So what's interesting is with we've all known people who they're so beautifully spiritually deep and real and authentic, and they have these beautiful things happen in their life that are phenomenal, more than they ever imagined or even specifically sought out. And I'm not going to give examples because not everybody would agree with that person. So I'm not going to give any specific examples. But ask yourself, people like that. And they didn't like set out to be famous celebrity or, super rich or super, and not everybody that I'm talking about has necessarily has the validation, the external validation in the world. But, artists and thought leaders and innovative idea pioneers, phenomenal things are done, and it's beyond them and they know it, but they are the vessel because they cultivate living in that spiritual awareness in all they do. And then this amazing things happen in their life, and they didn't seek those out first. It goes back to the phrase that Jesus taught: you seek the kingdom first. The kingdom is the true wealth, which is your divine self is leading your human self.
Mm.
Yeah. Great conversation today.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Anything we need to address before or anything else you want to add? Are we complete?
I am complete.
Okay, cool. So next week, we will start the series we had first planned to start today. And the new series is Cultivating Conscious Conversation. The first principle, we're going to cover 6 principles. The first one is energy dynamics within sacred relationships. We just touched on that a little bit, so that's kind of cool. We are going to cover that for 6 Sundays, taking, the Sunday off each month at the end of the month, like we generally do. And to get the full schedule, it's on our schedule of events on our website. And I know Spencer puts that in the description, scfcl.org, or you can use the whole words if you like, the full name, Spiritual Center for Conscious Living.org. We have a schedule of events tab. I also put it in our Facebook events, so you can have the dates in advance and the topics. The program covers the 6 principles, and that'll be there every week as we go through this. And then the last 2 in December, the last 2 Sundays that we're going to be with you before Christmas holiday break, is we're going to actually implement, we're going to bring it all together and just have a deep dive into how do you implement it in business relationships and in family relationships and in social, events and gatherings, and this is deliberately planned because very consciously chosen because the holidays are coming up, and in this region of the world, some people just celebrated Thanksgiving. Another Thanksgiving that happens is coming up in November, and then the holidays around, Christmas, New Year's for people, and then a lot of holidays during December, not just Christmas and New Year's. And so we have so many different opportunities for both connecting with family and also socially. So we want, this is a good time to learn how in the world do you interact consciously with people who may not be choosing to be conscious at this point. They're not conscious. Living isn't a choice they've made. And how do you do so without trying to change them and then at the same time not allowing the differences to cause you to constrict and not be, relaxed in your whole self, really expressing as you, with honor, sacredness toward all people. So that's what we're going to be diving into. I think it's going to be really fun. And a lot of what we're doing is we're cultivating a curriculum that will be video courses that will be also, as we begin in this next year, having some retreat gatherings. We're excited to start putting those together for you. And so that's part of what, when Spencer is, always opens as if you choose to donate. That's what your donations go to. Your donations go to help us do these live streams, of course, and then behind the scenes, we're creating more and more materials. And we, it is our vision to bring conscious living into very practical teaching methods in the world for those who want them. And think about this, every person who makes a choice and commits their life to conscious living, and it has their own spiritual practice that helps them maintain that and expand and evolve, then they personally will begin living a very elevated lifestyle, a lifestyle that is sacred honor for them, in their environment, in their family, in their jobs, in their community. And then a ripple effect happens, because that, let's just pick a number of 10. Let's say every person has an average of 10 people who they have impact or influence with. And then those people's lives change. Family members, friends, loved ones, people at work, people, neighbors, people in community gatherings. And each of them then impacts 10. And then each of those impact 10. So it's a beautiful ripple effect. So it's not that we're measuring it by numbers, it's that we know every small number is exponentially impactful. So if you'd like to be part of that, we're also creating a new form of being a member. Even though we're online, we started out in person, and then with pandemic and all that, we went online. We're creating a new way to do that. If you'd like to, be a part, participate with us as we expand, we'll need some team and some team leaders and some team members. We want your involvement. We want to know, how we can serve you. So we're creating systems like that. We're wanting to have them in place as the new year is beginning to unfold, and they'll come out in phases, and part of that will be consistent contributions of energy presence, meaning participating with us like this, meaning contributing your gifts and talents in a group, a team. Like currently we have what we call a grant posse, group working on some grants, other things that we'll be doing, other teams and groups within the group. And then sharing, liking, making a commitment to help expand our reach by sharing, by the comments and the likes and the loves and all that. That helps get, the algorithms, whether you're and same thing on YouTube and Facebook. And then we'll expand a little more in different, footprint, social media and things. And then the financial donations, it helps us right now to maintain, but at the same time, build the things that will help us expand, which we are absolutely doing. They're kind of behind the scenes, so I'm trying to share a little more about that. But it also will help us have the capacity to reach out and hold, a live. We will always do it in some kind of blended manner so that those who can't travel and be present can participate, and to have, materials as curriculum that you can take as self-study, and then a way to, some groups to reach out and study together. And so we can do things like this, but more privately. So you can maybe go a little deeper with something you don't want to go into in a public forum, which we completely understand. So that's our vision. That's what we're working on. We'd love you to be a part of it and give us some feedback. Does that excite you? Does that enliven you? Do you say, wow, that'd be kind of fun to be a part of? Maybe you want to tiptoe in, or you want to dive in, whatever pace is right for you. We honor that. So thank you for your presence today. Is there anything else you want to add before we sign off, Spencer?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, so I'm just going to say, we bless you. We bless you. We honor you. We hold sacred honor for all people, for all creatures, for all living beings, all sentient beings, which means nature and earth itself, our beautiful, beautiful earth. And we hold that space with you, for you, and invite you to do so. Join us in that. And we bless you. We'll see you next Sunday.